Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. It's wonderful to see you all, and it is a wonderful morning, so I hope you have sun shining. And this morning, very important subject, we're talking about toxins. And toxins are an incredibly important element of life as we know it. And it's good to actually know as much as we can to keep ourselves safe, happy, and healthy. So to start with this morning, we're going to have the lovely Robyn, who's going to help us wake up that body. So good morning, Robyn.
Good morning, everybody. Right, so if you want to get comfortable, you can do this seated or standing. And as always, if there's any issues and tissues in your body, any old injuries, anything that you're aware of, then just don't do anything that could actually make that worse. It's very gentle, but if there's something that you know of, just be mindful of the movements. So let's just get our feet parallel, about shoulder width apart, so you're nice and stable on the ground. And if you're seated as well, both feet touching the ground. If you're seated, your legs at a 90-degree angle or thereabouts, and just standing or sitting up as tall as you can, lengthening up through the vertebrae, like that thread, just pulling up from the crown, and then just the monkey tail, the monkey bone, just going down towards the earth, so it opens up that lumbar region of the spine, and just straightening the back and softening the knees, keeping your knees safe. Okay. So just bringing one hand on top of the other, let's just centre ourselves first of all, just underneath the navel. Feel your feet on the ground. Just imagine those energetic roots going down into the earth, so we're plugged in. And then just allow your breath to go down to the lower abdomen. And as we breathe in, just allowing the tummy just to expand, even if it's just slightly. And if it doesn't expand, just drop your awareness down to that area. And just focus on your breathing. And just remember, the breath is our anchor in any situation that we're in. Just breathe in and breathe out, nice and gently. And of course, with the exhalation, we are releasing toxins from the body with the breath. So if you feel like you want to do some cleansing breath, that's absolutely fine. Just breathing in and then breathing out to the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and settling into your body. And let's just observe how we're feeling right now. Just acknowledging yourself. It's really important just to be aware of how we are in any given moment. And that can change from one moment to the next. So just acknowledging yourselves. Noticing any areas of tension that need attention. And just sending the breath there, sending some kindness. And if you can do, just softening them areas, allowing them to relax. Allowing your mind to drop into your body. And just being aware of your surroundings, sound, smell, taste. Being fully present. And then if your eyes are closed, just open them, look around the room, look at familiar objects. And then let's start to move some qi activates the body. So just rubbing the hands together. Back to the hands, in between the fingers. And we're going to start off with one of my particularly favourite exercises, which helps to, what I call to declutter the mind and the body. But it helps to release toxins from the tissues in the body and just helping to open up the gates, the meridians, to allow that chi to flow freely and release stagnation and just to get that energy flowing nice and healthily. So palms at the sides of the body, facing towards the thighs, relaxing the shoulders down. And then we're just going to breathe in nice and gently, and the arms don't go any higher than shoulder height. And then when you breathe out, we're going to do a little twist. One hand comes across the body, the other hand goes behind the body. Little twist there, just to wake up the kidneys. And then breathe in again to the centre, and then turn to the side, gentle twist, keeping your knees safe, keeping your knees soft. Then breathe in again to the centre and breathe out to the side. So as you're breathing into the centre, imagine white light coming up through the feet, all the way up through the body, clearing and cleansing. And as you turn to the side, imagine that you're throwing away cloudy grey energy, stagnant energy, clutter, to detoxify the body. You can imagine you're throwing it into a compost heap to recycle it into new energy, into the earth. So you can do it nice and slowly, or you can speed it up a little bit if you want to get a bit more energy flowing through the system, a bit of an aerobic effect. Bending the knees, just to pump the chi, the bloods, the fluids through the body. Twisting, activating the stomach, liver channels. And breathe. Just breathing at your own pace, your own rhythm. If you can't raise your arms up as high as your shoulders, that's okay. You can just bring them a little bit lower. And notice the play of air around the backs of the hands. Notice the palms of the hands. You throw away any toxins, stagnation, cloudy grey energy that's not really helpful to the body. And then we'll just slow it down. So breathing into the centre, breathing out to the side with that gentle twist. And this helps with the spine as well, just to create some space and suppleness through the spine and through the vertebrae. So slowing it right down until we come to a standstill. Come back to centre, feel your feet again. And then we're just going to make our hands into little beaks, just bringing the thumbs and the fingers together. Just placing them underneath the collarbones. And we're going to do some forwards movements with the elbows. Just loosening up and releasing tension in the shoulders and that upper thoracic part of the body. Opening up between the shoulder blades. And you can have a little stretch. You can bring your head forward if that feels good. Stretching. Opening, releasing, and then we're going to go the opposite way, stretching across the chest, opening up that area there, and this can help us to get a full body breath as well. So the lower abdomen, the thoracic and upper thoracic parts of the body. Just breathe out as your arms go down, breathe in as they come up. And if you struggle doing this, you can bring it lower. You can always adapt these movements. Just do one more, breathing in. and out, and then let's just have a little shake out just to release. Just breathing in and out, shaking off any excess chi. Again, you can do this with toxins, detoxifying the body, purifying the body, and just shaking off any sick energy or any energy that you might have picked up from people, the environment, the media, anything that's, you know, just makes you feel a bit off. And then just let that settle down. And notice how you're feeling. Notice how just moving that energy around, releasing. Notice how it starts to, the energy working through the body, the chi, the bloods and fluids. And the more sensitive you are to energy, the more you need to regularly clear and strengthen your own energy. So we're going to do some tapping now. We're going to start on one side, just tapping just underneath the collarbone. We've got a long point there. And just breathe in and out gently, helping to clear the lungs, breathing in white light, clearing congestion, stagnation. And then we're going to start to move down the inside of the arm. So firmly, but you don't need to do it too hard, just cupping the hand, or you can do it with a gentle closed fist, whatever feels more comfortable. Going down the inside of the arms, we've got the lung, heart, pericardium channels there, just putting there, and just clapping them acupressure points there, the loud-on points, in the palm of your hand. And then tapping the outside of the hand and the arm, going up the outside. We've got the small large intestine there, just opening them, clearing them, getting them moving, triple burner. The top of the shoulder, we've got a gallbladder point there, so just letting that activate and clear. And with this tapping, it helps to activate what's called the Wei Qi. Let's just check it out a little bit. The defensive qi, according to Chinese medicine. So with the patting, we're activating this lovely defensive qi, so we can have a nice protection under the skin, around the skin. So just tapping on the opposite side now, that long point underneath collarbone, and going down the inside of the arm again. Clapping, 4 points there, and then back up the outside of the arm. And you can do this as many times as you like. And then shake it off again. Let's go around the back. Now, just be mindful, if you struggle going all the way around the back, just tap where you can reach. And we're just going to tap up and down and around the kidney area, activating the kidneys. And then bottom. If you sat down, you can't do this one, unless you're standing up. And we've got the bladder channel going down the backs of the legs. So again, if you struggle with any lower back issues, just stay where you're comfortable and just tap where you can reach. Going down the backs of the legs. If you can reach all the way down, around the feet, and coming back up the insides of the legs. Got your liver, kidney, spleen there. And then just tapping underneath the navel, your lymphatics, the lymph nodes, just getting them activated and clearing, working more efficiently. And then let's tap down the front of the legs, the stomach, just on the outside edges, the shins, round the feet again, and then back up the inside of the leg. So I'm going in the direction of the channels, activating them, opening them, and then let's just tap around the tummy, up on the right, across and down on the left, intestines, the liver, spleen and stomach, gallbladder, pancreas, and just activating and helping that digestive process along. The process of an elimination, that's why we're going in the direction of digestion. So breathing in as you come up and across, breathe out as you go down and across. I'll just turn around, it might be easy just to show you. Up on the right, across, and down on the left. And then let's just smooth that down. Give yourself a nice gentle massage, soothing and softening and calming down. It's like we just beat the dust out of the rug on the line. And then we're just smoothing it down. Have a little rest, just underneath the navel. Breathe in and out. Centering. And just imagine that golden ball of light just building up through the lower dantian, the main energy centre in the body. And then we'll let go of the hands. We're going to just do a little squat down, just bending the knees, making sure the knees don't go over the toes, crossing over these acupressure points there, your immune system, coming up above the head, and then just pushing out to the side. And imagine a beautiful golden bubble of light, protective chi, the way chi, protecting your energy field, to strengthen it, and also to strengthen your boundaries, your energetic boundaries, because we know how it feels when people encroach on your space, overstep the boundaries, and you feel disempowered. So this helps, if you use a visualization as well, a lovely golden ball of light protecting through and around the body, the Wei Qi. We breathe in as we come up, breathing in that yin energy from the earth, connecting to that beautiful light yang energy, and just combining and balancing the two, bringing balance and harmony into the body. And then just releasing down, and we'll finish off with like a lovely golden light coming up through the front of the body, connecting to that energy again in the sky, coming down the back of the head and just smoothing down the back of the head like a lovely golden, smooth, lovely protective light, coming round the shoulders and going down again through the front of the body. Let's gather again, breathing in, going down the back of the body, come round the shoulders as we breathe out, pushing down, pushing through the Wei Qi, just calming and polishing our Wei Qi, polishing our energy field, our aura, making it nice and shiny and strong, like a protective, gentle suit of armour. And then just let your hands go down. Imagine your fingers are going down deep into the earth, grounding, and again sending your roots down from the feet. And we'll just finish with the feet together. Breathe in, gather some more of that lovely light, that energy. Breathe out, centering, aligning, and come into your heart center. And again, just acknowledge yourself for looking after you today. Have a lovely day and give yourselves a bow. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Robyn. That's, your sessions are always, they always make me yawn and release whatever it is. So thank you so much. So now we're moving on to the wonderful June. Good morning, June. Oh, June, you're on mute. We need to hear your lovely voice.
Good morning, everybody. And good
better.
afternoon and good evening, wherever you may be. Yes, well, interesting. we haven't actually defined toxins. So I'm going to start by doing that because I think it's a word that's much used these days. Oh, hello, my little friend. Hello, hello. We have an extra. Our mascot is here. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Yeah, it's toxins is a word that's used quite a lot. And I think it just does bear a little bit of a definition. I haven't looked it up, but in my own experience, toxins are things that are unwanted, uninvited, unhelpful in our bodies. And we are getting increasingly exposed to more and more of that kind of thing, whether it be Western medication or whether it be chemicals in the food or in the air or in the water. And a lot more people are becoming aware of this and feeling a bit bombarded. So what we're trying to do today is empower people, as we always do, empower people to take back control of their own health and help clear these things. Although, of course, there are times when you really shouldn't do a detox. If you're going to think of doing a detox, don't do it when you're pregnant, don't do it when you're breastfeeding, and children really under 7 or maybe even a little bit older than that shouldn't really be doing detoxes. The body knows what to do with stuff to protect us. This is the wonderful thing. If the body has a lot of stuff coming at it, whether it's physical, emotional, energetic, whatever, it will try and manage and go round it and put things into places where they won't interrupt. And like Robyn says, that one of the best ways is to put white light around anybody, send it to people, put it around yourself, or the golden light that you're imagining when you're doing your Qigong, because that's the kind of thing that helps things bounce off. Be it cold winds, because in Chinese medicine we're very fond of saying you've had a wind cold invasion, and that can get into your system. Other people's energies, like you mentioned as well, that can disrupt us, and if we don't release it, the thing is to keep everything free flowing. In Chinese medicine, it's all about keeping things free flowing. The minute things stop flowing, then we get pain, we get discomfort, we get unsettled emotions, and disrupted lifestyle. So I think the thing is, if we can just imagine that free flow of energy that Robyn's given us, and keep doing your Qigong every day, because it builds up over the time. It builds up and it builds up, and it helps you be stronger in yourself. I mean, there's also, I think it's time for people to be discussing more the difference between the germ theory and the terrain. And we're not just passive victims of ailments. We're actually active participants in our own lives, and we actually have the power to strengthen ourselves and help us resist things and also let things go through us. I mean, I've for years, other practitioners have said, how do you protect yourself when you're in the treatment room from other people's stuff? And I go, well, I don't. I just let it go through me, because it's all about energy going through me. However, I've started recently to consider that it might be necessary to actually do a bit more protection, just because there's ever such a lot of fear-based emotions going around, and we're all human, and we are connected. And so whatever happens to one of us happens to all of us. And this is something we need to remember, that we're not separate. We are connected. And if you walk into a room where there's been an atmosphere, somebody's had an argument, you feel it. Or if somebody's walking down the street smiling at everybody, it prompts you to start smiling back and carry on, smiling at the next people. So I think that is something really worth remembering. I have quite a few little tools here that can help with, it's a bit of a show and tell today, that can help with physical clearing and also energetic clearing. So just on the physical level, I have got crystals, but I didn't bring them to the screen. Crystals can be good for carrying around, for protection. There's a whole number of them that you can look up that are really good for helping you stay centered and grounded. And of course, walking on the earth. Very, very important for keeping you connected through your bubbling spring on the bottom of your feet, to keep yourself connected to the earth and keep that energy, in you and part of you. I have a patient who I go and visit at home, and she never leaves her house because she's so poorly. And I was thinking about her the other day and how she lives above ground. She lives on the first floor. So she's never actually outside with her feet on the ground. So what you can do if you're in that kind of circumstance, you can visualize roots coming down from your bubbling spring on the bottom of your feet, and just visualize roots coming down through all the layers of your building, however many there might be. You've got endless supply of roots go down right into the earth. So that is really important. And of course, there's the good old-fashioned 5-flower essence, emergency essence, or rescue remedy, which is very good for helping if you've had a wobble, if you feel like you've had a little bit of an emotional to do, then that's a good thing to help keep that flowing. And of course, on the clearing things out at the end of the day type of thing before you go to bed, it's really a good idea. I started doing it during, these last 3 years. If ever I felt like stuff was sticking to me in any way, shape, or form, I would get into a magnesium flakes bath, and it just rinses it away. Then there's body brushing. I've just got a new brush. It's really cute. Got a little handle on it, and you just brush much like the tapping, but this gets really the pores opened and go all over your body and brush. And so I've got some older ones here that are a bit more well used. There's a rubbery one that you can use as well. And then there's one with a long handle. You can get these all over the place. And this is great for rubbing your own back if you haven't got anybody to rub your back. Because the back also needs some attention, and we forget about our backs because we don't see them unless we look in a mirror over our shoulders. So there's that. And and for children as well, doing that meridian brush that I've shown on numerous occasions, that can help them, because children do need, they're constantly bombarded by other children's emotional stuff. And I do really believe that when children come home from school, when they first go to school, everybody says, oh, they've caught colds off each other. No, they didn't. They actually caught the emotions and the stress of the other children, which then creates a cold in them. So, you'll find that you'll get a cold when you're feeling overwhelmed with thoughts and ideas and too many things to do. And you need to just keep that moving. Just keep it moving. You don't need to think about germs, because everybody has their own germs, and we need germs. They're part of our, building up our immune system. So we need them. So other things you can do, we have a marvelous protocol. Now, I'm not that fond of protocols as such as the word, but we do have a variety of things on the PHA website that you can implement to help your body detox from certain things that have gotten in, and everybody will be a bit different. So that is why you need to do it on a personal level, because you'll have your own personal things that have, accumulated in your system. And you might feel that spring is a good time to do this. And we're moving slowly towards summer, but we're still in the wood element. So I'm just going to show you a little thing about the liver, because haven't got any pictures, sorry. But in Chinese medicine, the liver is, and you might recall on other things, we've got the 5 elements, and the liver is in the wood element, and it's to do with wind. And so in the spring, there's often more wind, and it does clear things and refresh things. But also, if it gets stuck, it can disrupt, and it can cause disturbances in the energy system. So the primary liver functions are for store. This is in Chinese medicine. This isn't physical liver. This is the energetic liver. Stores the blood, And of course, that is, you imagine that's more physical, but it does, including spreading and maintaining the free flow of the qi and energy, dominates the sinews, which are the tendons and the the tendons. I'll just call them tendons. Sinews is what we call them in Chinese medicine, but it's to do with keeping things in their place, keeping the muscle tone, if you like, the attachments of the muscles. That's the word I was looking for. Opens into the eyes and manifests in the nails. Now you'll know if you're getting a bit stressed, or if you've been stressed for a while, you might get little ridges on your nails. And that's what that's about. It's constrained liver qi. And that's where that manifests. So it governs the uprising, and therefore you can get excessive rising of energy. So this is where people who sometimes, if their liver is their primary element, then they could be a bit more prone to falling off going off at a tangent and getting, hello, has somebody got their hand up? Helen. No, I thought you wanted to say something. Yes, people flying off the handle, that's what I was going to say. They can be more delivery type of person, but it can also happen more in the spring. So disharmony can easily flare up. The Ming Men fire at the base of well, it's in the lumbar region, the kidney energy area. It can easily flare upwards as pathological heat. So you get flushing, you get red eyes, you get temper, you get shouting, people with loud voices, like me. I'm a livery person. And I don't even realize I'm shouting half the time. It just, my son keeps, you're really loud. Yeah, I know, I can't help it. But anyway, it also assists the movement of the Zhang Fu. Now, those are the 5 main organs in Chinese medicine. I've taken this directly by Dedman, Al-Kafaji, and Baker. This is my Bible. It's really big, and it's got a lot of great information. And so this is where I've taken this from. So if you're going to copy this, give them credit. Dedman, Al-Kafaji, and Baker. And so, yeah, it makes the lung qi come down, and the stomach qi go down, and the spleen qi come up. It also assists in the function of the bladder. So this is why some people have bladder irritability, is because the liver is holding and not allowing the bladder to flow smoothly. So it comes in bursts. So you might find people getting urgency, or you might find you get retention of fluid in the bladder, and all those kind of irritable bladder things. It also stores the ethereal soul, which is the hun, and I did talk about that when we were doing a bit of a spiritual section. And it's the mother of the heart, because when we move from spring into summer, we're moving into the heart and the small intestine, Zhang Fu. They're the ones that are the predominant ones in the summertime. So it stores the blood, which flows into the conception vessel and the penetration vessels. So these are the ones that go into the internal organs and help produce a healthy environment for conception, and so to contain the baby when it's growing in the womb. And then, of course, it becomes menstrual blood if conception doesn't happen, and we dispose of the blood that isn't required now. So, and this is why some people get disturbed periods, is because of the liver flow not flowing smoothly, and you get stop-start periods, or you get clots, or you get periods that come at the wrong time, that kind of thing. And of course, just to sum up, it's associated with anger, irritability, fractiousness. It's a great word. Frustration, depression, weepiness, and mood swings. So if you're finding yourself feeling like any of those things, it could be someone else's feelings. Because if you're working with people like I do, you can empathize, and you end up feeling, so you need to do something. If you're a practitioner, you need to do something in between people to clear out that previous person's stuff and get ready for the next person. So the other thing I've got to share is an allergy tapping thing, which is not just strictly about allergies. It's to do with anything energetic that has disturbed you. I might have already shared this once. I have a feeling I maybe did, but it's worth repeating because it's that good. I got this from my Touch for Health colleague, Richard Beale, in 2005. And this is how long I've been using this. It's absolutely wonderful because if you're exposed to, like, I give it to people with hay fever, for example, timely thing. Hay fever isn't an invasion by irritating nature. Nature is wonderful. We shouldn't be irritated by nature, but it's because we have disharmony inside of ourselves that the pollen can get in and add an extra bit of irritation to an already irritated person. So if you do these tapping points, the inner corner of the eyebrows, underneath the eyes, and I would probably use 2 fingers because then you make sure you cover the points. And then under the collarbone. Now, Maureen will recognize these because most of them, well, I think all of these are actually EFT points as well. And then on the side of the ribs, oops, just at the bra line, if you wear a bra, or just where your fingers can reach. I mean, this is the easiest. You can reach up to your armpits, but this is the easiest point to reach. So those 4, and you can repeat it as much as you want until the stressful thing is gone. And yeah, just keep using it. So I've done a little diagram on there, so you could take a picture of that if you want a screenshot. So you keep that. And oh yeah, last but not least, dandelion tea, because we really don't value dandelions enough, and they are in abundance right now. So here we are. I've taken just this one bit of the list I've got of the wonderfulness of dandelion tea. This is hedging its bets. This article is saying, well, there's no evidence and we don't, and all that kind of stuff. However, it is quite good at clearing. It's a diuretic, so don't overdo it. And if you use too much of it, it can adversely affect the kidneys. So, you want to just go gently, one cup every couple of days, maybe something like that. I wouldn't overdo it. And then they've also got a link there to reasons you shouldn't do a detox or a cleanse. But dandelion tea is not just about liver. It's full of antioxidants, apparently has anti-cancer properties, aids digestion, settles the bladder, but that's also because it's settling the liver, you see. Potentially fighting inflammation. And back up here, it lowers the blood sugar. It's got loads of vitamins and minerals in it. It's just amazing. And ease bloating. So just go pick some dandelion leaves, dry them out, and then stuff them in a teapot. Couldn't be easier. I've made dandelion vinegar as well with the dandelion heads. You just gather a whole bunch of dandelion heads, put white wine vinegar on it, let it steep for a week, and bingo. And it adds an extra little bit of zing to your, and that's probably plenty of time for me. Yes, we better stop and let Maureen go. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, June. I could listen to you all day, quite literally all day. And I made lots of notes, and I'm going to have to watch it again to, sorry, you're on mute.
I could talk all day too.
And one of the things that you said is just so, it's hard to be human because there is so much going on constantly and so much for us to remember. But what happens to one hurts us all. That is just so profound, because especially the people around us that are hurting, that when they're hurting, it can actually take away our energy and our strength. And for some people, it can give them more energy, more strength. There's no rule book. We are all so unique and individual that we have to work everything out for ourselves, what works best for ourselves. And that learning can be very nice and very empowering. So, and also a thing that triggered me is like, we hear an awful lot of the time, there's no evidence. And I remember talking to a scientist once who came up with that phrase, there's no evidence. So I said, but did you look for it? And it's like, no, we weren't looking for that. And it's like, well, it's not that there's no evidence, you haven't found it or you're not reporting it. And it was a really interesting conversation where this scientist was very, to start with, very, this is matter of fact how it is, then, oh yeah. So it was really lovely. So thank you so much, June. Wonderful as always. And I'm going to share a little PowerPoint. So I'm going to be looking at toxins from a different angle. And if you know me, you probably understand where I'm going. Toxic behaviors, because we're living with people around us. We're living with people, even if we haven't got people around us, we work with screens now. So we see people on screens, we see people on the television, we watch films, and there's toxic behavior all around us. And there's, as June said, when you hurt one, you hurt others. Have you ever watched something and somebody has got really hurt and it's made you cringe inside? It's like, oh, and it can create a reaction in us, and we want to be very careful and protective of ourselves. So we have toxic behavior. And a toxic mouse, it's not what the mouse might be watching the fishes, it won't work. Come on, mouse, you can do it. Okay, now you may or may not have come across this, the Bataris box. Very few people have, but it's a really lovely, useful thing to be aware of. So let's just go around it. My attitude affects my behavior, which affects your attitude, which affects your behavior, which affects my attitude, which affects my behavior, which affects your attitude. And it's like, well, actually, don't start with me. Let's start with somebody else. Right. Your attitude affects your behavior, affects my attitude, affects my behavior, which affects your behavior. And this is what is going on all the time. And so we want to be recognizing this and be able to, first of all, the best thing we can do is take responsibility for ourselves and our world. The more we can understand ourselves, the more we can understand others, the more useful we can be navigating through life and avoiding the damage that toxic behavior, toxins, and anything toxic can do to us. We want to stay safe, happy, and have our best fulfilled life. So so think about it. So you're either comfortable with this or not, because you might say, I don't affect anybody. It's like we do. Even, I never say anything. Even somebody's silence can be affecting somebody else. I don't do anything. Yeah, I'm just like this. I think we've done on a Wellbeing Wednesday before. Let's just all look at the screen right now and just relax your face. It's not welcoming, is it? So when we're communicating with people like us to smile, because that lets us know, excuse me, that lets us know that they like us and we're in a good place. But when we're thinking, when we're concentrating, when we're tired, we go into neutral face. And some people call that resting bitch face. But it's not, that's our neutral face. And we can misinterpret that so much. So your relaxed face affects my behavior, affects your attitude, affects your behavior. So see how it continues to go on. So we want to be as wise and as useful as we can in life. Now, when it comes to human beings, sometimes we are walking on eggs. Sometimes we know it's an egg fragile zone. Sometimes we don't. You can have a person that is fabulously strong and resilient always, but then one day it's like walking on eggshells. And sometimes it's more difficult to deal with that because it's unusual behavior to us than it is if somebody is constantly in that place and we've adjusted and we've got a way of helping and behaving to make the best of those situations. So the same can be said about us. When are we the eggshells where people have got to gently work around us? And with humans, anything can happen at any time with anyone. Everyone is susceptible to change. That's how it is. So let's learn and let's work to know what to do in the situation to safely manage the situation and keep us free. Remember, reality isn't a common thing. Reality is a unique individual. So what is real to me will be very different to somebody else. So yesterday, this is just so bizarre in terms of timing. I was being shown by my wonderful niece how to do something on Instagram, because I'm a bit of a novice. And up came this. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're talking about this tomorrow. How perfect. So 5 unexpected toxins when we're talking about people. Complaining, criticism, being negative, excuses, gossiping. So think about a person that's doing all of that. How attractive are you to them right now? How attracted are they to you? If you're a listener, and if you go with the flow of all of that, then you will be attractive to them. And if they're attractive to you, that's a question that you need to be maybe doing some work on, because it might change your world in a beautiful way to understand that all of these create negativity. So be aware of other people and be aware of being in that zone for too long, because if you can be in that zone for too long, then it can, without you knowing it, affect you. Have you been ever, let's say, I know, for example, back in the days where there was a smoky environment in the pubs and clubs and restaurants, and I would go and be beautifully dressed, showered, sparklingly clean, go and spend 20 minutes, and then go and maybe meet friends, family, and they'll say, oh, you smell of smoke. And it's like, but I don't smoke. Being in and around people that have this going on can, without us knowing, stick to us. So we want to be really careful, because a lot of people, as a therapist, I get a lot of clients who say, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I can't cope. All of a sudden, I'm feeling horribly depressed. All of a sudden. Well, it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It's this gradual build up where we're attracting and not knowing the stuff that's coming and sticking with inside of us. Now, in terms of these 5 toxics, do we do them with ourselves? And if you do, brilliant starting point. Wellbeing Wednesday. Let's decide right now, I'm going to be kind to myself. Because if I don't do it very often, actually, it'll be a nice holiday, maybe. Some people have a difficulty being kind to themselves. For some people, it really is a challenge, and to be horrid to themselves feels more comfortable. So if you know anybody like that, that is a wonderful place for progress. So it's not as simple as we often imagine. Remember, reality is our interpretation of life and the world and what goes on. So let's look at some other unexpected toxics within people. People's energy and mood. We love being around people that are high energy, so long as we're in a high energy. If we're in a mood, we don't like it. So it's like oil and water. But the positive energies is great, because all energies breed energy. So if we're around people that are all negative, that breeds negativity. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been happy and you've been in and around people that are just really horribly miserable, and you walk away feeling a little bit doomed? So remember, emotions can be infectious. The demands of others, distortions, because people make sense of every single moment of life, they will create their reality as a result of that. And I'm going to do a little tiny exercise. Well, it's not an exercise, a thing we'll know that demonstrates this. When people put us down, when people are not even interested in us. So you can have a conversation with somebody for an hour, and throughout the whole hour, they don't even ask, how are you? Or they might go, how are you? I'm fine, because I'm fine. How are you? And then they begin their hours sharing what's going on in their world. And that happens an awful lot. And so we want to be understanding that, I've got my big story of my life and you've not even mentioned it. It can hurt. So we can have people that are disinterested in us, and that can hurt. But it's like understanding a rabbit can't bark. If we need them to be interested in us, they might not at that point in time be able to do it because of how they're created, how they're programmed. People make mistakes. People are jealous. People can be angry. And when they're in an angry state, forget logic, And all of those things can hurt us. People, when they're in addictions, it changes their behaviors. People, when they're sarcastic, can hurt when they think it's fun. And what about when people share your secrets? And they can share those secrets in an open forum, and it can hurt deeply. So we want to understand that people's behavior is out there, and it can cause an impact on us. And we want to be questions is the power of life. What is better for us? What is healthier for us? What is it that we want? And we can redesign situations. It might take a long time, but it might be worth doing, especially if certain relations are pulling you down and having a negative effect on your positive energy. So you may or may not have come across this. Everything in life is learning. We either know it or we don't. And we might have known it once upon a time, but we've parked it somewhere in the corner of our mind and kind of half forgotten about it. So when we think about viewpoints, think about it in 3 ways. My viewpoint, their viewpoint, and then imagine there's a fly on the wall, an observer that is looking down and has no loyalty to me or them and can see what's really going on. Because as human beings, it is a complicated business to behave every single day. So it could be that somebody told a joke at my expense. They think it was funny. But in the moment, I was horrified, embarrassed, and really distressed. But of course, I might hold it in, bite my lip, might go red, bite my lip, might not be able to speak. And then it's like, oh no, it was funny. And it really wasn't. The fly on the wall can see, oh, do you know what? That wasn't funny, because she didn't understand. She didn't have good emotional intelligence. She didn't understand that that wasn't the right time and the right place. And that person is now wounded for life. And, you know, a lot of people can't unhear and unsee things. So a fly on the wall can actually see a better perspective. Now, can you imagine being in the shoes of the person that tells a joke for whatever reason? It might be that I need attention, or it might be that it went silent and I need to fill a gap. Okay. Can you imagine somebody telling you, actually, you could do with some emotional intelligence learning, behavioral learning, and maybe some therapy so that you can get better results in situations? Can you imagine how that would go down? We're allergic to truth sometimes. So we have to be very, very careful. We have to recognize when we're trying to improve situations, relationships, and behaviors that we're walking on eggshells. So imagine somebody comes into your house and you've got a beautiful picture on the wall, and they turn it and they get some paints out and they turn it into a horrible picture. What would you do? It's a beautiful picture and they turn it into a horrible picture. What picture do you want on your wall? And if they came in and they left a filthy, horrible picture on the wall, what would you do? You would probably clean it or change it, get rid of it. So we've got a choice. Now, imagine yourself as a beautiful, fabulous, pure white t-shirt, and somebody comes and their behavior puts a stain on it. What you gonna do? And so we'll do whatever it takes. So we might put it in the washing, we might give it some rubbing, but the rubbing, if it doesn't work, what do we do? Well, we've got choice. We'll either persevere or we'll stay stained. So one of the things that we can do, and we've mentioned tapping already this morning, and thank you so much, June, because you know I love, you're like, oh, I got all excited when you were doing the tapping. There's loads of different ways we can do it. Tapping is one of my preferred ways because it's helped me so much through life, and it's helped me do so much for other people as a therapist. It can be really useful at cleaning up the stains that people leave. Okay, so we want to start with a plan to stay safe. Understand what works for you, and what works for you in life, others might not understand. Now, if you're watching Wellbeing Wednesday, you're probably, like us all, learning. I'm learning so much more. PHA, Wellbeing Wednesday, has taught me so much, and I am so grateful. But when we take on that learning, others don't have it. And they might even be resistant to it because of what they've already learned and what they already know. They might even be told, dandelions, you're kidding, I'm not going to touch a dandelion. Because at school, we were told that they were, in my school, we were told that they were wet the beds. So if you touched one, it meant that you were going to wet the bed. And as a child, that's one of the worst things that you can do, because it proves you're a baby. So that's what we learned in school. So whilst I learned that maybe at 6 or 7, and I now know as an adult, that's completely rubbish. Often because of the way we're programmed, if I see a dandelion, or even people in around the same learning experiences as me, immediately that learning comes out, wet the beds. And it's like, so whilst we are learning, we've got to remember that others are not at our stage, and they might not even want to be learning. So we want to be understanding that, because otherwise we can be kind of like forcing people, and they're not ready to learn. So I saw this many years ago, and I found this incredibly interesting, that NHS trials were looking at dogs to do, and I just thought it's so funny, because where do dogs normally sniff? I just thought it was funny. But if dogs can pick up the scent, it means there's something there, and it's that we're not sensing it, we're filtering it out for some reason. And so there are times when there are things there, and some people can notice it and others can't. So we're deleting information, we're parking it, or just throwing it away before it gets into our minds. And I don't know if anybody has ever had to tell somebody that they smell. Now, when people, I remember when I was first introduced to curries and garlic, and it was like, oh, it makes you smell. And I remember working when I was a new manager, so I wasn't very competent, and had to tell somebody that they smelt, but it wasn't garlic. There was somebody that reeked of garlic on a Thursday, because they went out regularly on a Wednesday. So what they'd eating is kind of like coming out of the pores, dropping into the air, and then reaching our nostrils. So this is all about particles. It's physically there. And the question is, and I don't know this, maybe June might know this, if I'm smelling somebody else's odor, could that be potentially dangerous? And if I don't know what I'm breathing in, and breathing in through my mouth, or even my eyes, because I believe our eyes can absorb things as well, how is that? So that's one aspect of it. It's interesting. But if there's somebody that, for example, smells, and it's for some people, they're more sensitive, and it's making other people ill, what do you do? How do you pass on that message? And you may or may not have learned this in life. I'm only going to do this very quickly. It is a modality that can be stretched for half a day. Feedback is like passing information. So the person is destroying an environment with their body odor. So they need to have that information so that they can do something different. But we've got to be so sensitive, because some people are so sensitive and some people are not. You never know until you're there. So there's a thing called the feedback sandwich, or the crap sandwich. And we want to deliver these messages because it's the result that we want. We're not trying to make a person feel bad. We just want the change that's going to be beneficial to them and to the situation. So what we do is we sandwich it up. We say something positive, something the negative in the middle, and then something positive. And it gently, as gentle as possible, drops the message into their mindset. But we also want to be recognizing that silence is power. It's not only golden, it's power. So the speed of how we do this. So what we want to do is deliver the message, the mind will receive it, and then we want to run away. Don't know if you've seen the Monty Python film Holy Grail. There's a point where there's a Trojan horse and it's like throwing it in, it's like run away, because they were throwing the Trojan horse back at them. So this is what we can do, but we want to be very, very careful, and we want to be gentle, because there's no point. If we ever want to be hurting people, then those are some issues that we've got that we'll be wanting to work on. So if you need to pass on a message that you might think somebody could be hurt by, or they don't want to hear it, that is a useful way to do it. There's so many ways to do it. And we can only lead a horse to water. If we try to get it to do what might be the best thing for it, it doesn't work that way. It really won't work that way. They will not want to do it. Let us let people have choice. We've got choice, and understand the power of timing. So you could drop the right information So it could be, I could say to somebody who may be having a problem, oh, I wonder what would happen if you tried dandelion tea. And knowing that they're totally closed to this because they only have PG tips, then I would just leave it with them and walk away, not wait for a response, because if they respond, then they conclude the questioning situation. Leave them with an open question, and it can work wonders, just like the dandelion tea. So I'm not going to do this now. We're going to do some tapping to finish off. So if somebody has left a scar on you, so think about somebody that might have hurt you, whether it was intentional or not, it might be because they've had issues, then we can tap it away. And there's lots of well-being Wednesdays with tapping, and Helen's done tapping as well. It's wonderful. So we connect with whatever it is. So let's just tap. We tap here on what we call the karate point. There's our little finger, and it's just here. And we're getting a tiny vibration through to an acupressure point, a meridian point. And this is from the world of emotional freedom techniques, EFT. So I call this whinge and moan. So even though they hurt me, and I feel really bad every time I think about that, I totally accept it happened and I'm okay. So even though they did that to me, and I don't care why they did it, it hurt me. And I have this hurt, I'm okay. Even though I have this hurt, I love and approve of me anyway. This hurt, this hurt, this hurt. All the ways I'm still hurting. They hurt me then, and I'm still hurting. This hurt, my hurt, this hurt. All the ways I'm hurting. This hurt, this hurt. And then take a deep breath in, and then see what comes up, and you could tap on that. But then what you might want to ask yourself, so they hurt me then, and it might have been yesterday, might have been 10 years ago, it might have been 20 years ago, but I'm still hurting. Now that is an awful lot of hurt. So the person isn't in your world anymore, but the hurt is. So who's doing the hurting? How dare you accuse me of hurting myself? But isn't that the truth? Because we're in charge of our mind, and we've got a super complicated system that will continue the hurt. So maybe ask ourselves the question, have I hurt enough? Have I hurt enough? Have I let what happened hurt me enough? It's either a yes or a no. And if it's a no, I want to hang on to it, that's fine as well. So even though for whatever reason, I don't want to let go, it happened and I don't want to let go. Even if it's good for me to let go, I'm hanging on to it. I'll never see them again, but I'm hanging on to it. And I love and approve of me, whether I hang on to it or not. So even though I'm hanging on to it because it hurt me so much, who would I be if I let it go? I don't know, but I'm hanging on to it. Even if it's not good for me, even if it gives me this stress, even if it gives me nightmares, I'm hanging on to it because that is my choice. And I will do what is best for me. But I am hanging on to it. And there are reasons for that. And I love and approve of me anyway. All the reasons I'm hanging on, all the reasons I'm hanging on to it. I'm hanging on to it. Even if it's hurting me, even if I'm hurting me, I'm hanging on to it. Wonder what would happen if I let go. Wonder if I have to learn something to be able to let go. Peace and joy is better. But no, I'm hanging on to it. What would happen to me if I let go now? I'll always remember it happened. I'll always have the learning. But what if I can stop the hurting now? What if it's my choice now? I'll do what is best for me, because that is my choice. And then you take a deep breath in, and then you breathe. And then you go with whatever your mind is, and your mind will do whatever it will do. Often when I'm working on stuff, it will go into my childhood where it's like, oh, I don't want to let go because it wasn't fair. So then I'd tap on, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. People were always picking on me. I was nice. And it's like, I didn't know then when I was 5 that they had issues. And so they had to pick on me. So whilst they picked on me, somebody else who wasn't as strong was not being picked on. So maybe I'm a hero. Yeah, I didn't know it then, but I was actually a hero because I was protecting somebody else. Because it only hurts me. It could have devastated and, ruined somebody else's future. So there's lots of different ways that we can take away the stains that people leave on our t-shirts with their toxic behavior. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And hope you've all enjoyed this morning. Watch it again, because there is just so much in it from Robyn, June's. Oh, watch it, keep watching, because we want to be the wisest, because then we can have our best lives, and then we can help others as well, and educate people into what's going to make them their happiest and their most healthiest, with the most beautiful relationships as well. So thank you, everybody, so much for your contributions. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.